Imagine sitting beside a loved one, holding their hand, knowing deep inside that time is slipping away. Their once bright eyes now seem distant, their laughter less frequent. It's a heartbreaking reality many of us face, but rarely talk about. As heartbreaking as it is, recognizing the signs of an elderly person's final year can help you provide them with the love, care, and dignity they deserve. This isn't just a story of loss. It's a story of love, understanding, and cherishing every moment. In this script, we'll explore 5 warning signs that indicate an elderly loved one may be in their final year. By being aware, you can make their days comfortable and meaningful, ensuring no moment is wasted. One of the earliest and most alarming signs is unexplained and drastic weight loss. It might start subtly, looser clothing, a shrinking frame, but before you know it, they look frail and weak. This often happens due to loss of appetite, difficulty swallowing underlying medical conditions, such as cancer or kidney disease. The body preparing itself for the final stage. You might notice they push their plate away more often or forget to eat altogether. If this happens, don't just assume it's part of aging. It's a warning sign, a call for intervention. What you can do: encourage small, nutritious meals, offer soft, easy-to-eat foods, consult a doctor for appetite stimulants or alternative feeding methods. Most importantly, sit with them, talk to them, and ensure they feel loved. They used to wake up early, make breakfast, and enjoy their day. But now, they sleep longer, take frequent naps, and seem constantly exhausted. This isn't just aging, it's the body slowing down. As a person nears the end of life, their energy levels drop drastically. Their body is conserving energy for essential functions, and even simple tasks like sitting up become tiring. What you can do: let them rest when they need to. Provide a comfortable environment with soft pillows and blankets. Play soothing music or talk to them gently. Be present without forcing activity upon them. Your presence and patience mean the world to them. Remember when they used to love sharing stories, laughing, or watching their favorite TV shows? Now they barely engage. They sit quietly, staring out the window, lost in their thoughts. Social withdrawal is a common sign. They might stop answering phone calls, avoid visitors, or seem uninterested in conversations. This happens for various reasons: mental and physical exhaustion, depression or sadness about their condition, preparing themselves emotionally for the end. What you can do: don't force conversations. Instead, just sit with them. Hold their hand, play their favorite music, or show them old photos. Let them know they are not alone. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than words. You might notice them forgetting familiar faces, misplacing things, or struggling to recall simple words. At times, they may even talk about seeing loved ones who have passed away. While dementia and Alzheimer's are common in the elderly, sudden and increased confusion could indicate that the body is preparing for its final transition. What you can do: reassure them without arguing about what's real or not. Keep familiar objects around them. Speak in a calm and loving tone. Be patient, even if they repeat stories or seem lost. Their world is shifting, and all they need is reassurance. Perhaps one of the most distressing signs is a change in breathing patterns. You might hear labored breathing, long pauses between breaths, irregular rhythms. This is known as Cheyne-Stokes breathing, a common occurrence in the final days. Additionally, organ functions begin to slow down, leading to decreased urination skin, turning pale or bluish, cold hands and feet due to poor circulation. What you can do: keep them comfortable and warm. Offer gentle touch and reassurance. Avoid panic. This is a natural transition. The hardest part of watching a loved one go through their final year is feeling helpless. But here's the truth. You are not helpless. Your love, your presence, your care. These are the greatest gifts you can offer. Instead of focusing on the loss ahead, cherish the moments you have now. Hold their hand a little longer, tell them the stories they love, and remind them how much they mean to you. Because when the time comes, you'll know you gave them everything they needed: love, dignity, and peace. I would have pleaded with my family to find another way, but I didn't. And now, every single day, I live with the consequences of that choice. If you or a loved one is considering a nursing home, I urge you, listen to my story first. Because the truth isn't what they show you in the brochures. The reality isn't what they promise when they lead you on a tour. It was a quiet morning when I packed my bags. My daughter helped me fold my favorite sweaters, and my son carried out the small wooden box filled with my most treasured keepsakes. I tried to smile, tried to be strong, because they assured me this was the best thing for me. I had lived in my home for decades. It had seen the laughter of my children, the love of my late husband, and the quiet solitude of my later years. But as my health declined, the house became harder to manage. My children worried about me living alone. "You'll have people to take care of you, Mom," they said. "You won't have to worry about anything anymore." That's what I believed. That's what I told myself as I stepped through the doors of the nursing home, clutching my belongings like a child on their first day of school. At first, I tried to embrace my new life. I followed the rules, adjusted to the routines, and even attempted to make friends. But within days, I started to notice things that didn't feel right. The food was bland, and the portions were small. If I was hungry outside of meal times, there was nothing I could do but wait. My favorite evening tea? Not allowed, because caffeine wasn't good for me. The staff? They were nice at first, but I quickly realized they were stretched too thin. Pressing the call button for help sometimes meant waiting an hour or longer. And the loneliness? It crept in faster than I ever expected. I had imagined a place filled with laughter, companionship, and warmth. Instead, I found myself surrounded by people who sat silently, staring at the walls or the TV, waiting for a visit that might never come. I thought I was gaining security by coming here, but instead I lost something far more valuable: my independence. At home, I could wake up whenever I wanted. I could decide to stay in bed on a rainy morning, sip my coffee in my favorite chair, and go for a walk when I felt like it. Here, everything was dictated by a schedule. Breakfast at 7 a.m., lunch at noon, lights out by 9 p.m. If I didn't want to participate in the planned activities, I was seen as uncooperative. If I wanted to do something on my own, I was told it was too dangerous. Even using the restroom became an exercise in patience, having to wait for assistance, feeling like a burden every time I pressed the button. The worst part, they started making decisions for me: when to bathe, what to wear, which medications to take. My opinions, my preferences, my voice, it all started to feel invisible. "We'll visit all the time," my family had promised. And they did, at first. But as weeks turned to months, the visits became less frequent. My son, who used to visit every Sunday, started calling instead. My daughter, who promised to take me out for lunch, found excuses. "Work is busy, Mom," she'd say. "We'll come next weekend." Next weekend turned into next month, and then nothing at all. I don't blame them. Life moves forward. But in here, time stands still. Days blur together. Holidays pass unnoticed. Birthdays are just another mark on the calendar. I watch the front door, hoping to see a familiar face. I hear footsteps in the hallway and pray they are coming for me. Most days they aren't. Before I moved in, they told me I'd never be alone, that I'd have nurses to care for me, people to talk to, and activities to keep me engaged. What they didn't tell me was that I'd have to fight for attention in an understaffed facility, that I'd spend hours in my room waiting for someone to check on me, that the fun activities were the same few things recycled over and over again, designed more to keep us occupied than truly engaged. They didn't tell me that some nights I'd cry myself to sleep, missing the home I left behind, that I'd feel like a prisoner, locked away from the world I once knew, that I'd regret ever thinking this place could be my safe haven. What I wish I had done differently. If I could go back, I would have explored other options. In-home care, living with family, senior communities that allowed more independence, anything but this. I would have spoken up, told my children how much I feared this decision. I would have asked more questions, visited more facilities, demanded better answers. But most of all, I would have held on to my independence for as long as I could. Because once it's gone, it's nearly impossible to get back. If you're thinking of placing your loved one in a nursing home, please talk to them first. Really listen. Don't assume this is the best choice. Look at alternatives. Visit often if they do move in. A phone call, a letter, a short visit.